In this video, I'm going to share with you the value of having a past performance library and what it can do to transform your business and your life. My name is 𝗙𝗪𝗡𝗡𝗏. I'm a government contracting expert and enterprise value architect. And basically means that I love to help service-based business owners who are killing it, having success in their business, and they want to add a revenue stream of public sector cash flowing contracts to their business so that they can increase their freedom, their success, and their stability. And one of the elements to do that successfully over and over again, it is so powerful, but it's so simple to install. And I think one of the reasons why you haven't gotten a chance to actually installing this element into your business is because you're busy running your business. You've got so many meetings on your calendar, you're back to back, this, that, and the other. You actually have to even plan to take lunch and even just take a breather, stretch, and go back to it again. And you're handling your team members, you're handling finances, you're in just basically every single department, and you're loving it because you haven't just started, but you see the results of all the years of work that you put into your business. And here we are, knowing that you want government contracts. Maybe you've registered your business and you're starting to look at solicitations or RFPs and ITBs and RFQs and things like that. And you're navigating through that world. You're like, this is where I start, I think. Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you where you actually start. And this is a known professional, high level government contracting strategy that the amateurs never know about because they've never done it before. Now, for my clients and for my business, when it comes to the activities that we do every day, right? As a business owner, I can relate to it. It's chaos sometimes, and it's really fun, right? There's things you got to do. You got to create marketing content, you gotta create reels and live videos, and all these things, and write emails, and you have to have meetings with your team, meetings with clients, and go over budgets and KPIs, and you're doing a lot of things that have a lot of value in your business. And almost everything has a priority, right? If isn't a priority, you've learned how to delegate those things off your plate, but you're still looking at how can I grow my business sustainably? And what that means is like not incremental growth, but accelerated growth, where there's stability in the growth. You can actually track it and control it, and you can predict it, and that actually works. And it doesn't require you to be a guru of the sciences, but it does require you to have clarity on the value of your business. And it's more than just what's in the bank account or what's on your profit and loss statement. The value is also included or incorporated into your performance library. Now, what is a performance library? Many people think that it's just a whole bunch of case studies, capabilities, some stories, or some KPIs, like some stats about what contracts you've delivered, what work you've delivered, what clients you've worked with. And yeah, it includes that, but it tells a different type of story. It tells an outcome-based story. Your outcome-based story is one of the most valuable assets that you have in your business. Because in the world of AI, where everybody seems to kind of pop out of nowhere and say that they're an expert because they have a $20 subscription, is going to be your competition. And if you can show that you've helped out get an outcome for your clients, that is going to basically minimize all of that noise and help you stand out with everybody else so that you can be seen and your company can be seen as the expert of choice. So a few years ago, and I'm going to share a little story about what happened with me in my past performance library. A few years ago, I had a mentor, and she was so great to me. She really helped me pull out one of the most powerful stats out of my business that I never knew existed. And it has really helped me acquire even better clients and more strategically sound clients for stability. And we were having a conversation about growth. And I was talking to her that I really want to target these right fit clients for my business. This is the vision of where I want to take my business, the clients that and the caliber that they bring. And this is what I want. And so the first thing she said is, "Well, tell me about the results. Like, what are the results that you get for clients?" And I said, "Well, we help them win contracts." And she asked, "Well, for on average, what is the contract value?" And I was like, "Well, it depends because we have clients that are making $500,000 a year, and we have clients that are making multiple billions of dollars a year. It just all depends. We have this huge spectrum, but we have a method that works every time, right? When they apply it properly." And so she says, "Well, you really need to know your numbers." And I'm like, "Okay, but I do know my numbers. I know how many clients I've worked with. I know what their industries are. I know how many contracts that they've bid on. I know all that information." And she said, "For your business." And it took me back. And I know this is kind of like, this is the first time I'm actually talking about it live, but it took me back because I never thought that that was important. I thought the result for the client is the most important thing, and it is, like, 100 hands down, it is. I am integrous and intentional about who I work with because I only wanna work with people that I know that if they apply the system, that they work with me, that they actually listen to what I tell them to do and do it in a sequential order, they will see results because it has proven to be that for every single client that has gotten a result. And so I said, "Well, I have that, but you need more." She said, "Yes." So she told me what to do. She says, "Go back to all of the contracts that you've helped clients win and the ones that they've lost and all this stuff." And I said, "Yeah, I have that." I immediately knew that I was on the right path because we track that. I track that. I've always tracked that for our consultancy firm clients where we're actually the done for you extension of their team. We track all of that. And some of our coaching clients, we track that too. And so we have a project management tool that we developed, and it says like the client name, like the public sector agency client name, the opportunity that they bid on, what the result was, the value of the contract, so on and so forth, like other information that's really very powerful and very helpful for our clients to see when they're first onboarding. And so we had that, and I said, "Oh, all I have to do is just like download an Excel spreadsheet, and then I can start, calculating what that number is because our project management tool doesn't do the calculations of the contract values." So I downloaded the spreadsheet, I opened it up, and I took out the things that I knew weren't going to show the wins. I was like, I'm really interested in just seeing the wins for right now. So I took out the losses and I took out the shortlist. So what shortlist means, if you don't know, it's like there's a two-step process to a solicitation, and we helped them with the first part, and then they did the second part, and then either if they lost it because they wanted to do it themselves, the shortlist, then we track that. If they won the opportunity, we track it as a win. So anything that's kind of like in the in between where we don't really know, they haven't told us or we haven't been able to track it, we just kind of take it out. And there's some that you can do that with. So anyway, so we're left with just the wins. I take my tool in Excel spreadsheet. You know how you can just click on the cell and drag it down? Well, I took my tool, I dragged it down, and I did a sum. And there it was, 4.4 billion. It was like 4 billion 470 million, da 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 da. Da. Like it was a huge number. And I'm like, this there has to be wrong. And I remember even putting my finger on the screen to count the zeros because I'm like, this can't be right. So I go 100,000 million. Yeah, billion. And I stood there and I was just like, oh my gosh. I like up to this point, I had no idea that all of the thousands of proposals that I've helped and my team and I have helped people submit on were resulting in billions of dollars. Like it just kind of blew my mind. And so I'm just sitting there like awestruck. I'm like, oh my gosh. And so I write it down. I'm like, okay, I'm writing this down, but I don't trust this spreadsheet. So I copy the fields, like I copy the contracts that the contract numbers in the agency and then the actual contract values, the dollar values. Copy those cells and I paste it into a new spreadsheet. And I'm like, okay, let me double check because I just maybe it's pulling something that's hidden or, like I'm just like, we need to double check. So I just pull that information. I double check. Okay, there's only wins in this spreadsheet. And again, the same number, 4,400,000,000. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. And I'm sitting back and I'm thinking about all the contracts. I'm like, but there was that $300,000 contract for that municipality, and then there was a hundred $100,000 contract, and then there was that $2 million contract, and then there was that $5 million, and then there was a lot of $20 million contracts and $100 million contracts. But like, how did it accumulate? Well, yeah, one of my clients did win a 1.2 billion. Yeah, so I could understand that. And then I went by client. I started going by client. I'm like, okay, and it took me all day. It took me all day to go through the spreadsheet, morning to night. And when I just like kind of cracked my back to get out of my chair because I was literally like in the data to confirm this because I never want to put the wrong information out there. So I'm like, this is crazy. So I go by client, and some of our clients won all proposals, like all the contracts that we helped them win, 7 out of 7. And then there was a client, there was one contract that they needed help with, and they won that one. That was their first one. And then there was a client that we helped them win with new agencies that they had never won with before. 2 out of 2. There was one. There was three 2 out of 2s, and then there was a 4 out of 7. And I'm just like going out through all of these and I'm like, oh my gosh. Like it was just adding up. And I said to myself, I'm like, okay, this is powerful. And I stopped from there. I said, this is crazy. This is powerful. I can't wait to share on my next call with my mentor. So the next week I get on the phone with the mentor. She goes, how does it go? How did it go? And so she's ready, pen ready to like write something down. And I said, it's 4.4 billion. And she goes, whoa. She like dropped her pen and she was like, whoa. I said, I know. And I pulled up the spreadsheet. I had to like prove it to her because I'm like, this is such an outstanding, extraordinary number that I never thought that could happen and possible. But it's proof of iterations. It's proof of the iterations. And so we're on Zoom. And so I go share screen and I show her the spreadsheet and I show her how I tracked it by client and all that stuff. And so she's like, oh my gosh. And she's like, are you sure you got the number? And I said, I showed her how I calculated. And she's like, yeah. It's like, it's the right number. And I'm like, it's $4.4 billion. And so she said, when did you start the spreadsheet? And I said, I started it in 2020. Now, this was a few years ago. We're in 2026 now. So this was in 2023. And I'm telling her this. So there's three years. And she's like, what? I'm like, yeah. And we just stood there. It was just quiet. Like, oh my gosh, Melinda, you have to use this. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, you need to talk about this all the time. And I said, really? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, oh, okay. It felt uncomfortable because I didn't yet fully embody the identity of someone who has helped her clients get billion-dollar results. Like it hadn't hit yet. And so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, okay, all right. And so she's like, so what's your win rate? And I'm like, oh, I didn't even track that. So real time, I went back to the original spreadsheet that I downloaded from my project management tool on the call. And I said, it shouldn't take me long. And so I went ahead and I just did a quick formula to identify what was the total amount of contracts versus the amount that won. And then it gave me the percentage. And I said, it's 74.1. And I was like, no, that can't be. So I did it again. And I actually like added it up. I put it into my phone. I pulled out my phone and I was just like, I pulled up the calendar app and I'm like, okay, so, all right, 2100, da, 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 71, 74.1. And I'm like, And I tell her this, and she's like, wow. So you helped our clients achieve over 4.4 billion with a 74% win rate. And when she said it back to me, it was as if I was fully immersed into who and what I do in my business. Like, whoa, this is more than what I had I understood it to be. And this is true for every expert. Like if you're an expert and you started your business because you're an expert, like if you're in construction or engineering, IT, or if you are in professional services of any kind, like a lawyer, a dentist, a doctor, or in consulting, you're a speaker, you're a sales expert, you're helping people get a result, and you're a service business owner who has a team and has already experienced millions of dollars in your business, and you're thinking to yourself, I want to add stability, I want to create predictability, there is no better way. Because if we look at the proof, public sector contracts trump private sector every single time. Now, but there's value in private sector contracts. The private sector contracts, the clients that you currently serve now that are not government, they are actually very powerful because they tell you it's like your, how the the forecaster on the news, he has like a tool that he uses to predict what the weather is going to be. Your private sector market clients are your predicting tool. They're helping you predict what the market is going to do and be. But when there's a predicting tool, you have to have data, right? If you don't have the data to back it up, it's like you're starting from scratch. You need a baseline. So once you have that baseline, once you have a baseline set up and you have clients that you're serving and you've got a team that you're building and you're like, okay, I need to step out of the operation so that I can stay focused on vision, that is a perfect time to install government contracts. Because what government contracts does is create an exorbitant amount of leverage in your business. You're just taking what you've already done, all of the contracts that I've helped my clients close or win, and then taking all of that data and helping leverage to a newer level. So that's all we're doing here. And when you do that for your business, it helps, it just like it helps you achieve everything you want, like hiring senior seasoned people in your organization to lead departments. It helps with time management so that you can delegate responsibilities and not be the go-to firefighter for every single problem that occurs in your business. It's also helping you with predictability and cash flow. Like, okay, you're building a backlog of contracts. You got contracts awarded to you that start in 30 days, 60 days, 90 days. Well, that's amazing. That means for the next 3 to 6 months, you don't have to worry about you don't have to worry about revenue because it's already earmarked. It's already set aside. It's ready for you to perform. And then the other part of it is contracts I mean, they're longer than the standard retainer for an existing service business, where the standard service business has a retainer client for about an average of 18 months. Clients get into government contracting and they start winning contracts that are continuing contracts for 1, 2, 3, 5, 10 years. Totally changes the game. And then you're selling the same services to the same agencies every single year. I mean, the amount of leads that you're having to filter through, the sales calls, the email sequences, the funnels to get to the right client. And once you have a contract, then you just sell to that same client every single year. Whoa, it changes your entire life because now it's not about chasing, it's about positioning. It's not about, channeling the right position opportunity. It's about placing yourself in front of the flood of opportunities that are right fit for you. It's not about trying um to to hire your way to success. It's about just aligning your way to success. And it just changes everything about your business when you have an additional leg that is building predictability, consistency, and cash flow. Oh, so attractive. So I'm going having this conversation with my mentor a few years ago, and we realized 4.4 billion and 74% win rate. It's like, what? We did that? And then the other thing that was really interesting were the types of clients and the types of contracts that they were bidding on. These are all KPIs. These are important, essential data points that help you win more government contracts. So I went back to look and I said, okay, so these clients are in construction, these clients are in engineering, these clients are in professional services, they're attorneys, they're project managers or program managers, they're this, that, and the other. And then I have consulting clients where they're more consultative sellers, and so they're doing sales, and they're doing leadership training and coaching with health and wellness and da da da. And so I'm looking at the industries and I'm like, okay, so these are the clients that I want to continue to serve because I remember the pain, the problem that they had. And they were all really similar. They all wanted consistent cash flow. They wanted predictability. They want to stabilize while the consumer market does what the consumer market does, which is to fluctuate. If you invest into this in the stock market, you know this for a fact. It goes up and goes down. This is why we track the Dow and all these metrics because it is telling us predictability. It's like, okay, today someone said something and now boom, this stock went up. Someone said something and then boom, the stock went down. There's not that volatility in public sector contracts, even though there's that volatility in the private sector. And it's important that you have legs in both spaces because that creates structured, that is ironclad. It's kind of like being the lighthouse in the middle of the ocean, and there's rough waters, there's a storm, and the ship's just kind of waving. These are clients that are just kind of like, I need to get to the lighthouse, right? They're just striving to get to the lighthouse. And it's because your light is on and you are stable and you are in the same position. You haven't moved. They're steering towards your direction. While everyone else, all your competitors are in the ocean with the clients, shifting and changing and bowing and bowing, and there's water flooding and they're tipping over and they're screaming and yelling, all that happening. More of your clients are being steered toward your direction because you're the stable business that they can trust for the long haul. And that is authority that you want in your business. And that's the authority government contracts gives you. So these are contracts like working for systems, like the school districts, like where your kids go to school, and utilities, like when you flush a toilet, water, wastewater, when you go to a nice neighborhood and there's lush greens in the city park, and there's obviously parks and recreation and libraries, and there's so many different types of agencies other than federal. And so this is important for me to emphasize because federal is a great client to have, no matter what department you're navigating through. State, local, there's leverage automatically in your business. And I'm going to tell you why. It's actually one of the fastest ways you can grow your business with is state and local contracts. State and local contracts, they have similar appropriated budgets. And in fact, on the state and local side, there's over $2 billion in total amount across the United States that goes through spending, in addition to the 700, or when I say 2 billion, I mean 2 trillion, plus the trillion that's on the federal market. So overall, state and local and federal, there's about 3 trillion. It's a little less than 3 trillion, but it's around 3 trillion. And so this is happening to cycle and circulate the economy, just make sure that, everything is functioning. Like we have police officers and fire departments and school teachers, and things are just functioning properly. We have sidewalks that aren't broken. We have street lights that work. We have we have safety in certain areas. We have emergency services. All that is what is kind of helping circulate the economy. And so contracts are a way for you as a small business owner to participate in the circulation of that money. Now, what happens at the state and local end is in your state right now, there are agencies that want to work with your business. Because if they work with your business versus a company that's in a different country or different state, then those tax dollars that they give them has to now go to that state or that country. And they don't want to do that. In fact, they prioritize companies like yours in their state, in their location, because they know that that money is going to go back into that community. And that's a beautiful thing. So that's huge leverage, and you don't have to do anything other than to have an address. So it's just, it could be your home address, like what city do you live in? You can leverage a relationship there because not only are you a local stakeholder, a resident is considered a local stakeholder. So you have a voice when you go to meetings, you have a voice. You've ever seen those TV shows where they have like city, like town hall meetings, like that actually exists. And so that's where you voice your opinions and also hear about what they're doing to improve the community. These are all to benefit so that you can stay in the community and continue to buy and sell in the community so that the tax dollars continue to circulate. So this is all like this like system that's built for your benefit, for our benefit, regardless of politics, but that is how it works. And so when you're bidding on contracts in your state and locale, like your city, your town, your county, those are contracts that are easier for you to bid on because you live there. You can leverage that. If you're delivering um, a remote service, it doesn't matter. You live there. Like your business is there. You're going to receive the money into your business and you're going to spend from that state, city, location. So that's really powerful leverage that most people don't know. Okay. But I wanted to make sure you have that secret. And then you can take it from there. Now, there are federal agencies in your city and state. And so there's an advanced level of strategy there that you can utilize too to leverage. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is not just leveraging you know, what clients you've helped, but the outcome you've gotten for the client. And when you leverage with the outcome you got from the client, now you can help more people. Now you can help more communities. Now you can actually put an imprint in the community and say, hey, I did that. Hey, I was a part of that. Hey, I influenced that outcome. There's this huge mural here in Orlando. You can see it off of I-4. It's near the arena and every time I drive past it on the highway, I can see it. It's huge. I think it's like 50 feet tall. I should know this. And I wrote the press release for this mural, and I was a part of the committee that painted the mural. And so I didn't paint it. They hired several local artists to paint this thing. And so we went to the ribbon cutting and I had pictures and all that stuff from that. And it reminds me of the impact that you and I have on our community. That mural is going to be there for decades. It's it's now a monument. It's a part of our city of Orlando. It's now in magazines and on social media across different platforms and in different profiles. And it's like, we created something that didn't exist before. And that's true for government contracts. You might think to yourself, well, the government doesn't buy what I sell. If it's in demand on the private side, it's in demand on the public side. Full stop. If it's in demand on the private side, it is in demand on the public side. A few years ago, podcasting was crazy. Like everybody was like podcast. I mean, it's blowing up even more, but it was starting to like the name, the definition, the identity of a podcast was really starting to take form. And every conversation I entered started talking about podcasting. I'm like, oh, okay. So if this is in demand, it's going to be in demand in the public sector. And I remember saying that to one of our clients, and he's like, how? How is that going to be in demand? I said, well, because agencies are going to want to talk. They see private sector talking and they see how the results of talking helps them. they're going to want to talk too. And it's starting to take form right now. Podcasting in the public sector. Isn't that insane? So if you're a podcast production editor, or make the designs, or you are the production coordinator of a podcast, like, these are opportunities that may be coming to you in your local area. And you want to be a part of that conversation because you're the expert. You've done it over and over again. If you have a YouTube channel, oh my gosh, I can't tell you how many agencies have YouTube channels and they're poorly optimized. AI, oh my gosh, agencies are using AI right now, poorly using AI because they don't understand marketing. You can come in and educate them, do a training on how to use AI to market opportunities and events appropriately, like incorporating marketing principles, like I got an email for an event the same day of the event. It was like 9 a.m. I got the email and the event was at noon. And I'm like, there's the amount of people that will be able to go to this event is slim because, it's 3 hours from now and that's my lunch break. And so, like, it's a lot of stress and not taking advantage of planning out way ahead and sending those emails out months ahead and just building that performance, that trailer of excitement before the event. This is email marketing. They send emails. This is messaging, like how to write. All of these things are necessary. It's just that they may not be aware that they need it. And that's what we understand as problem aware and not problem aware, right? But that's education. That's education for buyers, procurement officers, contracting officers that buy what you sell, but they don't understand fully what you do and why it's important. And that's why the outcome of the services that you offer are so important. You want to create a past performance library that shows the outcomes of providing the services. So, if your responsibility or your business's responsibility is to perform construction services, like you're a general contractor and you specialize in renovations, or you are an IT specialist and you have an IT company, and what you do is you help with software maintenance and cybersecurity and etc. Well, that's the service, but what is the outcome from hiring your business versus someone else? What is the outcome that you get for companies, clients alike, that is going to make you stand out? That are the seasoning ingredients to a powerful differentiator, something that's going to make you stand out. Value proposition. This is the value that you're going to bring to the market so that you don't have any competition. Like, I don't have any competition. Nobody's talking about their win rates. Nobody's talking about the billions. Nobody's talking about clients like this. And because these are my results, no one can own my results. Only I can and my company can. And that's it. That's where it is. The value that I increase when I have conversation with brokers, and I used to entertain them more, but I, I'm not interested in selling my business because it's extremely valuable. Um, but I used to, and I get on the phone and they tell me, like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you the X amount of dollars," and I'm like, "Okay." Now that I know our stats, the data, the outcomes, oh my gosh, there is no way that I would ever settle for their standard price because it's way more valuable because I understand the value. This is something that's not going to be on the profit and loss statement. This is acquired results. This is something that can dramatically shift people's lives, businesses exponentially. And so it really increases the value of your business. And it's not something that is a pie in the sky idea. It's actualized. It's something that's real. So how do you track this? The easy way, simple, easy way to do this is in a case study, but not any other case study, not something that you just write a description and that's it. That's not what we're looking at. We're going to basically, your case study should be, and I call it the case study framework. Your case study framework is really simple. It's going to basically show the client journey for each client. So it's going to start with, why did they reach out to you? Well, that's a sales call question that you have and during discovery. Like, why did you reach out to you? What interested you? right? If they came from a referral, mention that. If they came directly from social media, mention that, right? And then also, like, what problem do they have? What's the problem they had? They said they wanted to do this, but they have it. What's the gap they're trying to get over, right? So they had a problem. My clients, they couldn't figure out how to bid on these contracts. They needed some additional support. Other clients that I worked with, they wanted to win government contracts. They didn't know how, be stuck in a subcontractor role forever. They wanted to win prime contracts. There's clients, that they've never won a contract before. They have tons of private sector experience. They got their certifications, like their women-owned certification. They got registered, and they just don't know how to position, and they don't have a system. So now I all know these problems, and I wrote it into that script, that case study for that client. Now, the next thing after problem is where we explain how we help them. So, problem, how we help them, like the experience of the thing that we did. So, this is what we provided. Like, this is how we went through the system. This is what we did. This is how we walked them through the process. Then, the next thing that we're going to do after we provide the experience is the outcome. Now, a lot of businesses, I would say the majority of service businesses that I talk to don't track this. They just kind of go from one client to the next. They're like, well, we gave them the system, or well, we did this, or well, we did that, and just move on to the next thing. And this is a huge opportunity. In fact, one of the reasons why I initially added step number 5 in my GovCon sales strategy is because this is so essential. It opens up so many doors of opportunity that are just like laying on the table for you to grab. And it happens in the private sector so much, so much. I mean, it's kind of like, there is a story about McDonald's when they wanted to sell French fries. And first it was just like the burger and a drink. Like people would buy the burger and then they buy the drink. These are all a la carte before they had combos and stuff like that. And they did a lot of market research and psychology and things like that. And the only thing that they did is add this one phrase to the end of the order. Would you like fries with that? People said yes, and people said no. But that was money that was sitting there that nobody paid attention to. Like, I mean, just imagine if they were, back then it was like dollar, for fries or 50 cents or whatever, but it still was money. It added up across all their locations, and they just added this, would you like fries with that? Not complicated, really simple, easy question. And it turned into billions of dollars. And it is the combo that we know now today. So, what I'm saying is, when we go back and we get them the data for the outcome, that is the open door for your business. This is where you can ask them, well, how's it going? Like, is it performing the way that you wanted to? Because we know what the outcome was that they wanted. We understand what the problem was that they had. We know the experience that we delivered. Now we come back and we say, hey, how's it going? We want a periodic check in. And that is a data point, not only for your case study, but for your business. Now okay, turns into a client that we can sell to again, or a client that is a referral, a great referral, or a testimonial that you didn't capture before. And so this is where we get that. We get the testimonials after we deliver the experience, immediately after in my business. And we also get the testimonials, more testimonials after we check in periodically. And we have some clients that have like 7 different testimonials for one client. And it's because periodically we just kept checking in, didn't have to sell anything new. They just kept telling us like, "Oh my gosh, this is great. This is da, da, da." And now they become data points. Every time they give us an idea like, "Oh, well, we can sell this offer and we can sell this offer and we can sell this offer." And now it's just like it just continues to evolve based off the demand in the business. Now, how does that all play into government contracts? Because you have this powerful case study document and it has all the information that you want and need, it really does change things for your business. Like it changes it drastically. And what it does is it helps create a roadmap. because now you know, here are the clients that I got results for. Here's what I sold to them to get that result, and here's the outcome that I got, that they gave me because of the results. Now, when you put that in front of any agency, if you're going against 20, 30 competitors, the law of probability states that a fraction of them can say that, because most of them are not following this method. Most of them are just running around with the chicken with their head cut off. And most of them are just trying to get through the day. And because you leveraged maybe AI, maybe you had a team member or VA, whatever, somebody to take the time to create a past performance asset library, you now have value in your business that just boom, it just boosts you up to a whole nother caliber of expertise. Something that very few people can compete with. Something that makes it very easy for your clients, your prospects, everyone to see all the other gurus out there that try to act like they're experts and they really aren't, because they can't. It's just it's completely different. It's kind of like going back to that the lighthouse analogy. It's like a boat be like, "Oh, follow me," and it's in the waters with you. It's like, "Oh, I'm not gonna follow you. You're not stable enough. You're not predictable enough. I can't trust that you're gonna be in the same spot. Are you moving away? Are you floating away? You're in the same boat with me. I wanna follow that lighthouse. I wanna get towards that lighthouse because I know that there's safety, there's predictability, and there's sustainability there." And that's what your business gets to become when you install government contracts. So, if you're interested in government contracts, if you're interested in adding government contracts to your existing successful business without making any changes to your business other than optimizing it and making it work better for you, come to our upcoming training. It's a masterclass where I'm going to teach live how you can actually do this and help you and guide you through that little part of value in your business that is exorbitant in the government marketplace. We're also going to talk about how to use past performance to win contracts, identify contracts, and even forecast contracts that are 6 months, 12 months from now. I mean, just imagine what that's going to do to your business when you know what opportunities to bid on, respond to, that are right fit for your business. Which ones that you need to find teaming partners for that won't be awarded or even advertised in a procurement site for the next 12 months. It changes everything because now you know how to staff it. Now you know what services you need in terms of to look at an expert. Now you know what you need to win. So if you're interested in understanding that and learning that, come to our upcoming masterclass. All you have to do is go to melindacologne.com/training or click the link down below to register today. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one.